that like button and subscribe right now before we dive in, because we are rolling through another jam-packed Blue Jays morning, and honestly, the vibes are considerably better than they were 48 hours ago. There is some genuinely encouraging news on Cody Ponce. Mad Max Scherzer put on an absolute show and reminded everyone in baseball exactly why the Blue Jays brought him back. And then there is a name in the Buffalo Bison's rotation that most fans are sleeping on completely. A pitcher coming off Tommy John surgery, who just put up a line in his return that should have every single person paying attention to the depth picture sitting up straight. We have a lot to get through, so let us not waste a single second. Welcome in, let us go. First things first, and it would be irresponsible to talk about anything else before we address the elephant that has been sitting in the middle of the Rogers Center infield since Monday night. Cody Ponce, the man who most of us watched get carted off the field in one of the most heartbreaking early season moments in recent Blue Jays memory. The man who spent 3 years in Japan and then delivered a staggering 1.89 ERA in the Korean Baseball Organization last year to win league MVP and earn his way back to Major League Baseball on a $30 million contract. The man who came out in Game 4 of the 2026 season, looked calm and controlled and genuinely excellent through the first 2 innings, and then had his entire world flip upside down on a routine ground ball that nobody in the stadium saw coming. Here is where things stand as of right now, and we want to be careful not to oversell this because the situation is still developing, but the news is measurably better than what most people were bracing for when they watched Ponce go down. The official diagnosis from manager John Schneider is a right ACL sprain, not a full ACL tear.
A sprain.
Now, do those two things exist in a spectrum where a sprain can become a tear, depending on what additional imaging reveals? Yes, absolutely, and that is exactly why the Blue Jays are sending Ponce to Los Angeles to be examined by Dr. Neil ElAttrache, one of the most respected orthopedic surgeons in professional sports. Surgery remains on the table, and we are not going to pretend otherwise. But right now, at this moment, the word coming from the team is sprain, not tear, and in the context of what that play looked like in real time, that is a result that most people were not expecting. Schneider told reporters he was on the phone with Ponce until 1 a.m. after the injury, just talking through everything, and he said Ponce has a genuinely good perspective on it. Frustrated, naturally, who would not be, but grounded, focused on what comes next, and not falling apart. That tells you everything about the character of this man. He has been through hard things before. He went to Japan when most players his age would have sulked in the minors. He went to Korea when Japan was not enough. He rebuilt his entire pitching identity from scratch, invented a kick change that became his signature weapon, and forced the Blue Jays to take him seriously enough to hand him a 3-year deal. A guy with that kind of resilience is not going to let this define him. Speedy recovery, Cody. We are all pulling for you. And let us be honest, a sprain with a slight chance of returning this year is an exponentially better outcome than what flashed through every fan's mind when that cart rolled out onto the infield dirt. Now the rotation question obviously still exists regardless of how the Ponce news develops, because even in the best-case scenario where he comes back at some point this season, the Blue Jays need to fill that 5th starter slot starting this Sunday. The good news on the scheduling front is that Friday is a day off, which means the Jays get a small reprieve before that spot comes around again. But it is coming, and the front office is going to have to make a decision. Lázaro Estrada was recalled from AAA Buffalo immediately following Ponce's injury placement on the injured list, and that move was primarily about reinforcing the bullpen after Monday night's disaster required backup catcher Tyler Heineman to throw 2 innings of relief, a detail that is simultaneously hilarious, chaotic, and completely on-brand for a team trying to survive a rotation crisis in Week 1 of the season. Estrada could transition into a starting role if the Jays need him in the rotation slot Sunday, but that decision has not been officially confirmed yet, and manager Schneider has also floated Adam Macko and CJ Van Eyck as options. But here is the name that almost nobody in this conversation is bringing up enough, and it is a name that deserves your full attention right now. Chad Dallas. 25 years old, right-hander, a 4th-round pick by the Blue Jays in the 2021 draft out of the University of Tennessee. If you have been following this organization closely for the past few years, Chad Dallas is a name you should recognize because he was absolutely climbing the prospect ladder at an impressive rate before everything fell apart in the cruelest possible way. In 2023, Dallas put together a genuinely excellent season in the minors, posting a 3.65 ERA with legitimate strikeout stuff, and was named the Blue Jays Pitching Prospect of the Year. He came into 2024 at AAA Buffalo and continued showing promise through 14 starts, and then halfway through that season, his elbow gave out. Tommy John surgery in September of 2024. The entire 2025 season wiped out completely.
Done.
Watching. Rehabbing. Waiting. After nearly 2 full years away from competitive baseball, Chad Dallas walked back onto a mound in spring training this February and immediately reminded everyone watching exactly why people were excited about him in the first place. In his first spring appearance against the Mets, he struck out 4 of 5 hitters in 1 2/3 innings without allowing a single hit. Scouts in the building were paying attention. Then, in his first official minor league start of the 2026 season for the Buffalo Bisons, Dallas delivered a line that makes you do a double take when you read it for the first time. 3 innings of work, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 0 walks, and 5 strikeouts on just 58 pitches. After nearly 2 years away from the game following Tommy John surgery, the man went out and threw 58 pitches with a 42% called strikes plus whiffs rate, getting 3 of his strikeouts on a sweeper alone. That is not a guy scraping together innings and hoping his elbow holds up. That is a guy who still has real, genuine, premium stuff and has come back from surgery without losing what made him exciting in the first place. Now, let's be realistic and measured here. Nobody is calling Chad Dallas up to the major leagues in April of 2026. He just threw 3 innings in his first competitive outing in almost 2 years. The plan was always to let him build back up slowly through the Buffalo rotation, pitch through a full season, reestablish his arm strength, and be in position to potentially knock on the big league door in 2027 when spots in the rotation actually open up, because every single one of Gausman, Scherzer, Lauer, and Bieber are headed toward free agency this winter. There will be room, and Dallas has the profile to fill it. The sweeper is legitimately a 70-grade pitch on the scouting scale, meaning it grades out as elite. He has 4 other usable offerings. He was named Prospect of the Year, for a reason. You are not watching a guy trying to salvage a career. You are watching a guy try to recapture one that was always legitimately promising before the injury derailed it. But what Monday night's game and Tuesday night's game and the broader rotation chaos of the first week of this season have reinforced beyond any shadow of a doubt is what we already knew intellectually, but are now feeling viscerally. You cannot have enough arms. You simply cannot. The Blue Jays thought they had enough heading into the season. They had 8 legitimate major league starting pitchers on the organizational depth chart. They had what looked on paper like genuine, redundant, layered depth. And here they are on day 6 of the regular season already scrambling for a 5th starter with multiple arms on the injured list and a prospect community in Buffalo that is being asked to grow up faster than anyone planned. Chad Dallas is not the immediate answer. But his encouraging return to the mound matters in the context of this conversation, and it matters more with every passing game that reminds us how thin the safety net actually is. Now, let's talk about the man of the hour, the legend, the guy who walked into Tuesday night's game against the Colorado Rockies wearing whatever cosmic energy he has been channeling since he apparently decided to start playing piano to fix his thumb injury. Because yes, that is a real thing that actually happened, and delivered one of the most timely, composed, flat-out dominant performances of the early season. Mad Max Scherzer. 41 years old. 19th major league season. Still bouncing on the dugout steps before first pitch, like a middleweight boxer waiting for the opening bell. Scherzer went 6 innings against the Rockies, and the numbers are beautiful. 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. The 1 run came on a home run to Hunter Goodman in the 6th inning, which is admittedly a frustrating way to allow a run, but Goodman is legitimately one of the better hitters on that Colorado roster, and the shot came on an otherwise clean outing in a game where Scherzer was clearly in command from the first pitch. He became the oldest pitcher to throw 6 or more innings in a game since R.A. Dickey did it back in 2016. He won his first decision of the season, and in doing so, he gave his team something it desperately needed after the emotional carnage of Monday night, a feeling of normalcy, of control, of one of your veterans standing on that mound and saying without words, "This is fine, we are fine, let me handle this." The bullpen picked up right where Scherzer left off. Mason Flaherty, Braden Fisher, and Jeff Hoffman all worked scoreless innings after Scherzer came out, and each of them was economical about it, only allowing one base runner via a hit apiece, nothing getting out of hand. The game efficiently managed to a 5-1 final. That kind of clean bullpen effort after the chaos of Monday, when multiple relievers were burned just trying to survive a blowout that eventually required the aforementioned Tyler Heineman situation, was genuinely important for getting those arms some rest before the Chicago White Sox series this week. Offensively, the Blue Jays came to play. Jesus Sanchez got things started in the bottom of the fifth inning with an RBI single that scored Dalton Varsho, who had singled earlier in the frame, to put Toronto on top 1-0. Then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. drew a bases-loaded walk to push a second run in, making it 2-0 before Scherzer surrendered the Goodman home run to cut the lead to 2-1. Then the seventh inning happened, and that is when this offense really stretched its legs. Kazuma Okamoto, continuing his absolutely electric start to his major league career, roped a single at 95 miles per hour off the inner half to score Miles Straw and extend the lead. A rope. A ball hit at 95 miles per hour pulled into left field for a single. The man is mashing everything right now. Then Nathan Lukes, good old reliable Nathan Lukes, singled into right field to score Guerrero Jr. and push it to 4-1. And then Ernie Clement capped the inning with a double that scored Lukes and put the final exclamation point on a 3-run seventh that effectively ended any remaining drama. 5-1 final. Blue Jays improved to 4-1. It is worth pausing for a moment to appreciate just how this offense is operating in these early games, because the formula is exactly what we watched carry this team through last year's postseason and all the way to Game 7 of the World Series. They are not waiting for 3-run home runs. They are not relying on 1 or 2 bats to carry the lineup. They are hitting the ball hard, moving runners, putting the ball in play under pressure, and stringing hits together in ways that wear down opposing pitching without requiring anyone to do anything superhuman. Sanchez drives in a run. Guerrero works a walk. Okamoto ropes a single. Lukes adds another. Clement doubles for insurance. Different names, different at-bats, same relentless pressure on the other side. It feels very 2025. It feels like a team that knows exactly what it is and how it wins baseball games. Now let us talk about today's matchup, because there is a game to be played, and it is one that the Blue Jays should be genuinely confident about heading into. Kevin Gausman gets the ball for his second start of the season against Kyle Freeland and the Rockies, and the pitching matchup could not be more lopsided on paper. On opening day, Gausman was historically dominant. 6 innings, 11 strikeouts, 1 run allowed, 1 hit, 0 walks on 83 pitches, setting the franchise record for most strikeouts by an opening day starter in Blue Jays history. Alejandro Kirk said after that game that the way Gausman pitched in the playoffs is exactly what he saw on opening day. That is not a comparison you make lightly. Gausman's splitter is a legitimate weapon of mass destruction, and the Colorado Rockies batted just .133 against that pitch last season with a 41.5% strikeout rate, the worst in all of baseball, including getting rung up 8 times in Gausman's one start against them last year. He posted a 1.29 ERA in that outing. He is pitching at home. He is rolling. He has one of the most favorable matchups imaginable. On the other side, Kyle Freeland is a durable, experienced left-hander who has been Colorado's opening day starter and has given the Rockies reliable innings for years at a time. But durable and reliable does not mean good, and Freeland comes into this game against Toronto with a career 9.31 ERA in 2 lifetime starts against the Blue Jays, including an 11.57 ERA in his one start at Rogers Center. He is a contact pitcher who does not miss many bats, who relies on his curveball and getting early strikes, and who tends to surrender hard contact when batters are sitting on his fastball. The Blue Jays lineup, which is averaging 5.2 runs per game through the first 5 games, is packed with right-handed hitters who feast on exactly the kind of pitcher Freeland profiles as. Kazuma Okamoto has a hit in every single game this season and carries a platoon advantage against Freeland. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has not yet hit his first home run of 2026 and is due in a big way. Jesus Sanchez has been everywhere. This lineup should have multiple opportunities to score runs against this pitcher. The one piece of caution worth acknowledging, and this is being honest, not pessimistic, is that the Blue Jays are 4-1, feeling good, fresh off a confidence-boosting win, and there is always a small risk that a team in that mindset relaxes slightly against an opponent they know they should beat comfortably. Baseball has a way of humbling you the moment you start coasting, and the Rockies, despite their record and their limitations, have already shown they can put up runs in a hurry. See Monday night's 14-5 disaster as evidence. Freeland is also not incapable of going 5 or 6 innings and giving his team a chance to hang around. This is not an automatic win. Gausman still has to execute, the lineup still has to be sharp, and the defense still has to make the plays. But the matchup heavily favors Toronto, and if Gausman brings even 70% of what he brought on opening day, the Blue Jays should take this series 2-1 and head to Chicago with 5 wins in 6 games. After the White Sox series, there is an off day before the Dodgers World Series rematch comes to town on April 6th through the 8th. That series, the first time these two franchises have faced each other since Game 7 of the 2025 World Series, is circled on every calendar, already sold out, and already generating the kind of buzz that makes the entire country pay attention. The Blue Jays are going to want to walk into that series playing clean, confident, well-rested baseball. Winning today's game and then handling business against the White Sox before that off day is the path to doing exactly that. There is a lot of baseball ahead. There is a rotation bridge to build, a Cody Ponce situation to monitor, a Chad Dallas recovery to follow, and about 156 games still to be played before this thing gets sorted out. But right now, in this first week of the season, this team has shown exactly who it is at its best. Resilient, deep, talented, capable of absorbing a punch and swinging right back. For wins and 1 loss with a rotation held together by tape and determination, and the starting pitching reinforcements are a few weeks away from arriving. If that is where you are at after the first 6 days, you are doing something right. That is going to wrap up today's episode, and before you go anywhere, we need you to do 3 things. First, tell us in the comments what you think about Chad Dallas. Do you think he factors into the big league picture at some point this season if the rotation keeps experiencing issues? Or is 2027 the realistic timeline? Second, give us your prediction for today's Gausman versus Freeland matchup. Does the ace dominate again, or does Freeland make things interesting? And third, and this one is important, hit that like button and subscribe if you are not already, because we are bringing you daily Blue Jays coverage all season long, and you do not want to miss the Dodgers rematch coverage that is coming this weekend. Turn on your notifications, tell a friend, and let us do this together all the way to October.